Um, Good morning. My name is Owechomachi. I don't know how many ladies we have in the class. I want to welcome Oke Abu. I can't see your name, Techno. Come on. I want to welcome Fidel Andepu, Chris Idoko, and that's about it. Well, my class is not, we don't have plenty of people. Since we don't have plenty of people, I wonder what we're going to discuss. But let's try. Let's see. Let's rub mind together and we can conclude the session and face other things for today. Okay, gentlemen, today's session is feasibility study and business plan. You have taken the quiz already, I believe. Some people have taken the quiz. I don't expect you to score high marks at all. If you score 10, I'm fine. If 0 is even good for me, because it shows that you are not yet familiar with the terrain. If you score very high marks, it means you are familiar and then good to go. But if you are not familiar, it gives me the confidence that you will be listening to what I will say, and maybe you'll be asking relevant questions or even bringing things from your own field. I don't know if we have engineers here, we have doctors here, pharmacists. So you could even be bringing ideas from your field discipline that could help other members of the class or help us improve this type of discussion for any other opportunity we have to do such a presentation. So what is feasibility study? I'm going to be snappy today. Let's see how it goes. What's feasibility study? What's business plan? What's the difference between feasibility study and a business plan? That's essentially what this module 2 is all about. This module 2 is also geared towards getting you to start thinking again. I pray I succeed in doing that. Get you to think again about what your idea is. And since you have not filled the form, if you think there's a need for you to adjust your business idea properly before filling in the form, fine. Better to quickly than when you do it and then you run into issues. Also recall that this is a loan, meaning that you still be obliged to repay someday. So I wish it were a grant, then you can take the risk where you don't have any obligation to it again. Okay, so we have module 2, which section is feasibility study, and feasibility study is broken down into 4 topics. We will discuss feasibility study in 4 topics. All right, I think I can see Chukuma Luisa, right? Chukuma Luisa is just joining us. Welcome. We've not done anything. We just started. I don't know if I pronounced the name very well. Okay, so this section is divided into 4. We say want to know what a feasibility study is. We also want to know what a feasible business is. Because we're dealing with business. So if your business is a feasible business, you should know that this business is a feasible business. And how do you know? Want to put the checklist so that you can match it against your own business or match it at a future date against your business. That, okay, if my business can do all of this, then it should be feasible. Then in itself, what's a feasibility study? And sometimes I might interchangeably use the word feasibility study with feasibility report because they are almost the same thing. The study is the actual feasibility. When you enter the field, you study, you make observation, you note things. Then the report is just a summary of what you have actually done. So if I interchange it, it's just try to just get the context from where I'm coming from. So topic 2 is what is even the objective of feasibility study? Why is it important? And what are the common shortcomings that we have noticed from feasibility study? When they go to the field, what do they come out with? Topic 3 under this section is for a short advice on how you should go about your feasibility study. Just a short advice. If then the last one is the components. What we mean by components is when we pick your feasibility report, what are we going to see as the minimum content, right? We expect some items to appear there, what would be these items that we're going to find in your feasibility report so that you don't skip anything. That's it, and then we'll wrap it up and go to section 2, which is business plan. The way we will do this discussion is that if you have any observation, maybe even if I'm not audible enough, if I'm talking too fast, or if there's a point you have not picked, just type it on the chat and I'll react to it immediately. You know, sometimes I don't enjoy some lectures where or some discussion where the person leading the discussion is talking too fast, like and then I miss the whole point. So if you think my pace is too fast, slow me down. If you think my pace is too slow, you tell me, because it's not a session for us to discuss and make you sleepy. Right, what's a feasibility study? Let me even find out from you. What do you, I have something on my screen already, so I can't ask you that question again. All right, I wanted to ask what is a feasibility study, but I can still ask you despite what we have on our screen. Maybe I'll go back. Yeah, let me go back. All right, so before we take what a feasibility study is and what a feasible business is, can you type on the chat, right? Type freely. Don't use all this Google definition. I'm not interested in a Google definition. I'm not interested in an academic definition. Just what registers on your mind when you hear feasibility study. Just type it on the chat. Let me see. At least if you are typing for me, I know that apart from those that have taken my pre-quiz, pre-lecture quiz, I know that if you are typing with me here, it means you are actually participating in the class or in this discussion. So that I like to remind you, it's just a time for us to rub minds together. So what is a feasibility study? Let's have it right on the chat. I know there's a delay between the time you finish your chat and you press enter and for it to get to me, but I'm going to give you a second, 5 seconds, and you put down something for me. Your answers must not be correct. It's just what comes to your mind. If somebody say, or if somebody from a nursery school, kindergarten say, oh, excuse me, sir, or excuse me, ma, what is a feasibility study, sir? And you should be able to say something. So that's essentially what I want to see here. And you know, most of these correct answers come from simplicity. So when your definition is very simple, it usually catches the essence. Watching my screen to see answers. Techno, come on, I can't see your name. I wish I can see your name so that I can, or you just write it on the chat for me, right? When you see Techno, come on, is specific person, or just one name, not necessarily full name. Great, I have one response now. Let me see. Feasibility study is the assessment of proposed project. Great, okay, thank you very much for that. An assessment of proposed project, okay? Even if I'm not getting another response, I'm fine with this and I'm going to go to the next one. All right, so here, what we were trying to describe a feasibility study, we're trying to narrow it down as much as possible into three words, three keywords. We say feasibility study is an analysis of the viability of an idea. So you have three keywords that the meaning pivots on. You are doing an analysis, one, of what? Of an idea. Not just an analysis of an idea, you are checking whether the idea is viable. That's what feasibility study is all about. So feasibility study is an analysis of the viability of an idea. That's all. Okay, when you are doing this analysis, there are a couple of things that come to mind, like what could be the problem? Okay, we can solve this problem using this method. And so once we have all of that and we are good to go, then we will say the feasibility study has been done. The essence of the feasibility study is for us to be able to answer the question, should we go ahead or we should stay behind or we should forget about the deal. Like, let me bring an idea now. I have an idea considering making a machine that can feed feed somebody. All you need to do is just go there, sit in front of your dining seat or anywhere under any tree, and then you put the machine by your side and then it feeds you, right? Eats food and feed you. So I am thinking of doing that, but I need to ask certain questions. Is this idea going to be a viable idea? What are the questions that I will ask? If I want to eat with it under the tree, how? Um, Another key question is: do people want machines to feed them, or they want to use their hands? Maybe they, even though our class is small, maybe we could ask ourselves here now: do you want to use my machine, or you want to continue with your calories and your hand? Which one would you prefer? The answers I'm going to get from the chat to tell me whether the idea is viable or not. Okay, let me hear from Abdul Abdul Mutal. I'm trying to get a name. Abdul Muttalib. Yes, Abdul Muttalib Chukuma. Okay, let's hear what you want to use. You want to use your hand to eat, or you want to use my machine to eat? If you say you will use my machine to eat, I can continue with the whole idea, see how I can process it, manufacture it, and look for people to buy. But if you say otherwise, I'll think otherwise. So let me see what your view is. What do you prefer? You prefer to use your hands, or you prefer to use your hands, or you prefer to use your you would like to use my machine? Let me go to the chat and hear responses. Okay, going on the first question we asked, what feasibility study is? Solely okay that I responded. All right. Talk to me. Let me know what to do. Talk to me. I know there could be delay in the chat coming, but now that I'm not getting answer, it's either you didn't get the feasibility study I'm trying to do, or you're not even interested in whether the food is eaten by machine or by your calorie or by your hand, or some people are not even participating. You know, the disadvantage of Zoom classes is that somebody can put his phone there or his laptop there, go about, cook his food, watch other movies, same time. Okay, but let me assume that we're all listening. So yes, I've got an answer. Thank you very much, okay. Okay, Abuchi. Yes, you say you like to use coloring, not my machine. Great. All right, let me see if I can get one more answer again. If you want to use the coloring of my machine that I can use to feed, so that at least from two people, I will know for sure that the idea will work or it won't work. From now, if I'm using only okay Abu's preference, she wants to, she, I don't know, wants to use coloring. So I can easily conclude that my machine will not sell, right? Chris Idoku will use coloring, doesn't want my machine. Oh, fine. You have made my life easier. You said I should ditch my project. So this is almost like a small feasibility study. Ab initio, it suggests the two participants have they will continue with their coloring, meaning that I should just forget about the machine. It means the machine will not sell. That's feasibility study. You can see I went around with my questionnaire, asked two people, asked the whole class, and then two people responded by saying they will need it. So let's say these two people represent a whole large number of people. So who will need it? I forget about the idea. Okay. All right. So the next question is on that topic one. We say first we have attempted to define what feasibility studies. The next thing we want to do now is to see uh, if a business is a feasible business. How do you know that this business is feasible? we say it should have four checks. So you can note this check either in your head or anywhere, right? You can put this check anywhere, either in your head or you put it on paper, and you just look at the business. One, is this business generating cash flow, adequate cash flow and profit? If you look at it, yeah, cash is coming, some profit is coming, either in percentage of the investment, fine, you take it. That's not all. If there's a risk, can this business withstand it? So what is a risk? Risk is, when we talk about risk, we're talking principally about probability of an event occurring. So it could be favorable, it could be unfavorable, it could be something positive, it could be something bad, whatever the case may be. Um, what I'm saying is trying to differentiate between two risks. When we say risk, we could have pure risk. That means when your costs can happen. And then we'll have business risk. When it occurs, it could be favorable, you could make profit or you could make loss. So these are the two categories of risk, two groups of groupings of risk. Some people call it enterprise risk, some people call it strategic risk. That is the one that's business. And then the opposite of it is either called downward risk or pure risk. That means only one event is going to, right? Having said that, you look at the business itself, can it withstand any risk it will encounter? That means if so much money comes in, do you have ability to handle it? So much demand comes in, can you have the ability to supply? On the other side of it, you look at it from if something fails, can I continue to work? All right. The next one is, can this business remain viable in the long term? For example, the business of face mask, yes, is there, but will it survive in a long time? These are questions that we have to ask ourselves. Then, does the business even meet the goals of why we found it, why we began the business, why we brought it into existence? These questions, once you answer them and they tick yes, yes, business is a feasible. All right, so I can move into some of the things I need you to note when you are dealing with feasibility study. If I mention that one, we will say we have finished topic one, so we can move to topic two under section one for today. But before I go to that, please, what's the difference between cash flow and profit? Let me know what do you think is cash flow? What do you think is profit? Let's have the difference. Let's know what you. Usual thing is for you to write for me. Write what you think cash flow is, what you think profit is, or what is the difference between cash flow and profit. Just write it. One is this, one is the other one. All right, while I wait for your responses, I can tell you a short story. Like the story is for Louise. What's the pronunciation of her name again? Louisiana. Louise, right? Yeah, someone to help me. And then we have Okeabuchi, right? So we have Okeabuchi and then Louisiana. The two of them decide to go to the market and buy orange. They bought the orange for 100, for 10 oranges for 10 naira. That's 100 each, both of them. And they decide to sell them. Okeabuchi sold has for 10, for 100 each. So 100 times 10 oranges, that's 1,000, right? So 1,000 minus 100, she has a profit of what? 900. Whereas Louisiana sold her for 200 per orange, right? That's 2,000. 200 times 10 oranges, that's 2,000. So she has a profit of let's say 2,000 minus 100, that's 1,009. But there's something I didn't tell you about what Louisiana does. She only sell her oranges. So at the end of the day, you're sure that uh, Abuchi has 1,000 with her, but when you get home, Louisiana has nothing on her. She's going to collect her money some other day. So from this example, I think you should have seen maybe what cash flow and profit looks like. And these are two different models that people are using. I don't know which model you prefer. You prefer Okiabu cheese model or you prefer Chukwuma's model, Louisiana's model? Let me see your reaction. But before then, somebody has given me an answer. Let me see what the difference is. Profit is leftover expenses being paid, while cash flow is net flow of cash in and out of business. Excellent, excellent definition. So let's hear your view now. Whose model do you want to hear? Which is model, or you prefer Louisiana's model? Let me hear you. You guys are in business. We're trying to look at it from the practical side as well. Okay, let me hear your responses in the chat. Whose model do you prefer? While I wait for the response on that, here are the things that you should note. The first one is anybody with a business idea should conduct a feasibility study. Don't bother say once anybody walks up to you and say, I have this idea, I'm thinking of doing, just ask the person, where is your feasibility study? Or give me a summary or the highlights of a feasibility study. It's just something you tell people, don't bother, don't discuss idea with me without doing a feasibility study. I am not saying you should just, once somebody comes with an idea, you chase the person away. No, what I'm saying is that if the person is so committed to it, you demand a feasibility study. It, that idea. Other things to note, the feasibility study will address things like where and how the business will operate. When we talk of here, where is the business going to operate in a place like Maiduguri? Is it going to operate in Abuja, or we'll put it in a rural area? If it's going to be for farming, we need to put it where we can get free land. Because if we are citing our business in city center, we will definitely be having challenge um, with land use and all of that. So your feasibility study will address some of these things. The feasibility study also will give us in-depth detail about the business. You know, when you are doing the studies, a full study, so it's going to give us in-depth, as in there are things that at the idea stage you won't know, but by the time you are digging deep into the study, you even find out that maybe some people are already in the business. You even find out that there are even issues with regulatory authorities and all of that. Then another one, if you do a good feasibility study, when you want to write your business plan, it's almost like a walkover. Your business plan will be based on findings from the street. And then lastly, you should note that feasibility study can be used in many ways, but you know, the primary focus is for developing a business venture. Primary focus is for when you use it to focus on your business, not for academic purposes at all. All right, we can go to the next topic now, which is feasibility study importance, feasibility study shortcoming. That's what we'll talk about. Let me see if I have a response now. Oh, wow. I have only one participant, active participant in the class. Even when I ask for whose model they prefer, whether Okiabuchi's model or Louisiana's model, nobody wants to tell me the fact. You are all hiding your business model from me. No problem. When we finish the class, I'll go around and check your businesses and see what model you intend to use. All right, let's look at the topic 2, which is feasibility study. I would say objective is, what's the purpose of this feasibility study? Why are you doing a feasibility study? Why? Who asked you to do it? Okay, people may have asked you to do feasibility. Why are you doing it? First, it's very clear, it's obvious. It's like asking me, is it raining when it's raining, or is this dry season? Is the weather dry? Nobody such a question of cost. So the objective is to raise funds. Nobody just sit down, do a feasibility study just to know whether a business can work or not. So it's usually geared, usually, I say, geared towards raising funds. Number 2, when you go into the nitty-gritties of this feasibility study, and you're looking at how the feasibility study, how the business can run, it will open your eyes to certain things such as number of equipment to procure. How do I mix this equipment or this facility so that it can bring more revenue? So that's what we're saying here, to determine the optimum facility mix to maximize revenue. For example, if you go to a particular village and you're into transport and you want to move people from that village to a nearby semi-urban area and you have to use a bike, during your study, you realize that 10 people leave that village every day. So what's the next thing to do? It will appear that you should just go and get 10 bikes, right? But when you do a careful study and realize that the 10 people live with a space of about 1 hour in between, then you know that you don't need 10 bikes, you just need to say 2 bikes. So that when one picks the first person, before the next person is set to go to the next semi-urban area, that bike would have returned. And if for any reason it hasn't returned, the second one can also take the person, and both of them will be available for the third one, and things like that. So your feasibility study will help you to know whether you have the right mix on ground. Then another point is that it helps all the parties to the particular project to agree on the terms, key elements. Parties to the project are the person lending you the money, the bank, and you yourself, and your friends, your family, people around. All of them have to agree. You don't just go into a business, your spouse is saying, no, I don't want. What if the business will require people putting a call to you all the time? And that will be disturbing the time you use to take care of, to help your children with their assignments or to take them to school. So every party has to agree with it. Children, even your children, the people giving you the money, and then everybody has to agree with it, and they agree with it based on feasibility. So it's during the feasibility study, some of the challenges is going to come out, and you know whether you can deal or not. Another point is form the basis for initial market and project planning. Let me just call it initial market planning. Throughout this today, anytime I say market, it means number of people that are going to buy from you. So for the purpose of this discussion, you hear initial market, we're talking about number of people that will buy from you. So what is the minimum number of people that will buy from you? How would you know? You wouldn't know unless you go and do a feasibility study. It's at that point you know that, oh wow, if I get to the market, I'm going to get like 10 people, 30 people buying this stuff. Like if like when I was doing a feasibility study for that machine I wanted to make that will help you feed, I realized that those that responded to my questionnaire, all of them say they don't need the machine. If they don't need the machine, it's as good as the project is not going to take off at all. So I know that 2 people will definitely not buy. So the other people that did respond, they are still under the may buy, may not buy. What if I get all the response from them that they are not going to buy? So I know that this market is not going to buy my product. So that's how you form the basis for the initial market plan. And the other one is almost contrary, is on the other side of the whole reason. In some cases, it provides argument for you to even close the business. We have been talking about you want to start a business, you want to start a business. This feasibility study is not only used for that, it's also used to help you close a business. Otherwise, you can end up closing a business you shouldn't have closed, or you will close a business without having reasons for it. This happens in some instances, when some people now return to a particular area and realize that the business they started before is not doing very, very well, whereas they had closed the business. It meant that they closed the business not using any form of so we are saying here that if you want to close the business, do a feasibility study to support why that business should be closed. It's clear, it's very, very clear. Are selling baby products in a particular estate or in a particular small community. And there are no young couples again. Maybe all of them have migrated to other cities. Why are you selling baby products when you won't have plenty babies there? So if you know that the growing population in that village is very small, then there's no need for you to go ahead with your business plan on baby product. It's essentially that's what we mean in this last point by provide arguments for business closure. Yeah. Let's look at the next item in this topic, which is your shortcomings. And what are shortcomings of studies? What we're saying here is that a number of people have done studies. So we realize that during their study, from even maybe their report, we realize that there are some shortcomings. Why are we talking about these shortcomings? So that you too will take care of these shortcomings when you are in the field. Yeah, someone is chatting me. Let me see. Let me see. Nwadi nakaitel. Nwadi nakaitel. All right. Nwanida. Oh, sorry. Nwadina. All right. Chukuma is having a network challenge. I hope it gets resolved. I'm trying to pronounce her middle name, and I'll need to do that over and over to get it right. All right. Even though she's having network challenge, this discussion is on our YouTube. You can go to our channel, CEDRON Nigeria Limited, and you will see it's going to be recorded there, but you won't be able to ask your questions again. And then at the end of this section, I'm going to give you this particular slide. I'll put it on the WhatsApp group for you to make reference to it. So you wouldn't have lost anything. First shortcoming, people overestimate market potential. What did I say market is? I said market is number of people that will buy. So what do people do? Most of the time they overestimate what the number of people that will buy. You can come and say, okay, I want to make this thing, and I know that 100,000 people will buy it. Are you sure 100,000 people will buy? How did you know 100,000 people will buy? Did these 100,000 people confirm that they will buy? Do these 100,000 people have money to buy? Are these 100,000 people always available in your environment or no? These are questions you need to extrapolate. You need to be careful when you're doing that analysis so that you will know for sure whether this is something that can work or not. Another one. The other point is closely related to the first one, which is underestimated competition. You know, when you see that your market is big, that 100,000 people can come and buy. Yes. What if there are competitors in that market? Meaning that if the total market size is 100,000 that will need this product, what if you are not the only one producing that product? So why do you estimate why do you estimate that your market is 100,000? In the same way, why have you underestimated competition? There are other producers there. There are other people that may want to read more and more. There are other people that want to listen to lectures. There are other people that will come and craft up strategies day by day that you may not have come up with. Okay, the other point is closely also related to the first two. Plant capacity is not compatible with market size. What is market size? Market size is the number of people that will buy that product. So what is your plant capacity? Your plant capacity is, do I have factory equipment that can produce 100,000? If the market size is say 500,000, and I believe that 100,000 will come to me, then I should put up machines that should produce 100,000. That should have a capacity of 100,000. What some people do sometimes is they will go and say, "Oh no, I don't want to invest," and then they pick up machine that can just make for 10,000. Others will pick up machine that will make for 5 million, and then these machines will never work for a long time. One other point is people underestimate management and the manpower skill. Sometimes management, if it's coming from external or if it's not properly built along the business, you might run into issues. You say, "Oh no, I'm in charge of creativity only. I don't want to get involved with all these management issues." It could be an issue for you. Then the other point is some people underestimate the manpower skill. That is, they say, oh, no, anybody should be able to do this. That may not be true. It's not anybody that may be able to do this. Some people have skills for certain things, and that's what we look out for. Market projection is not based on sufficient data. That's close to the other point, estimated market potential. But the difference here is this. When you're projecting the market, that is, you're projecting that, okay, so time I should be able to buy this, I should be able to do this. Do you have sufficient data? Your data should be able to help you know closely what to do. You could use some forecasting model. You could even dig deeper by making further investigation, not assumptions, not what somebody has told you. You could walk up to a particular village and you ask them, "Ah, how many people do we have in this village?" Somebody will say, wow, it's uncountable that we have close to 1 million. But if you go and check the population census, the breakdown of the population census, maybe that particular city just has about 150,000. So you don't base your projection on the 1 million that you had. Rather, it should be based on statistics. Then availability of infrastructure is something that some people have taken for granted. Not that they deliberately did that. The usual challenge is that they may not have foreseen these issues. And that's why we say when you are going for your feasibility study, you should bring in so many variables. For example, you might say, okay, I want to farm big this time, 20 hectares of land, so that I can just repay my loan and go ahead and make some profit and keep for me and my family. When you go into the hinterland to get a piece of land, right? This piece of land, have you considered whether there are infrastructure such as bridges to those places? What if there are no bridges? How do you bring out your large harvest? Right, those are some shortcomings we have noticed with people. So we're discussing it here so that you factor it into the design of your questionnaire, the design of your study instrument. So that when you're in the field there, you will make sure that some of these things are vetted and properly done. Okay, let's look at why we consider this an important feasibility. We say four things here. The first one is that with the feasibility study, you have the opportunity of getting details because it's almost like a normal research. It's like a normal investigation. So you have plenty details that will help you know that the business can work. And while you are doing that, those inquiring, it also exposes you to logistical issues like for those of you that are going to farm, sometimes people miss out on the issue of when are we going to cultivate this. They miss out on those issues too. Um, um, what I'm trying to say is where are we going to store this and not cultivate them? Where are we going to store this harvest? So after you have harvested, where are you going to store it becomes also an issue, a logistical issue, because if you get a bumper harvest and maybe like a trailer load, where do you want to store these things? Do you have a space in your house? Do you want to keep it in the farm? And if you keep it in the farm, is this secured? Can some thieves come pick them up? You have to look at all those issues. And how do you get it to the market? It's also logistical issues. Then your feasibility study usually helps you to develop marketing strategy, which include what price is good, how do I promote my product, where do I let people know, where can I sell this product, or how do I encourage people to buy my item. Then, like I said, this the last point here, which is solid foundation for developing your business plan. I've mentioned this before. Uh, is with a good feasibility study, your business plan is almost like a walkover because the variables you need there you can easily use it. All right, that's the end of topic 2. Let's look at topic 3, which is short advice on what you should do. How do you go about the feasibility study? We say before you begin writing your feasibility study, do these 3 things. Identify how, where, and to whom you intend to sell the product. I take that point again. How, where, and who are you going to sell this product? So are you going to sell it online or you open a shop? That's how. Where? Are you going to trade it in Abuja, Bogolada, Kwali, or Zuba? Or whom? Are you going to sell it to old people or you're selling to young people or who needs your product? Then, like we said, assess your competition because assess either, let me say, the competition, because the competition is not there because of you. Competition is there because everyone wants to earn a living. Somebody wants to provide solution. So, and as they're trying to provide solution, you will realize that that will conflict with what you are doing and becomes and there will be competition. So you need to assess this competition to see how better you can. Then figure out how much money you need to start your business. For me, I think figuring out how much you need to start a business is simple. But how much you need to keep the business running might be where it could be a bit difficult. How much you need to start the business? Yeah, I need this equipment, I need this item, I need that. Well, how much I need to keep the business running might be where you need to come down and do some other further study. Like you need maybe to pay some salaries for a while. You need before sales begin and profits start coming in. You need to buy raw material. You need just a few other things. You even need regulatory issues like some licenses. So those are some things that you have to look at. Then before I leave this point, I want to leave you with the pre-feasibility, the idea of doing a pre-feasibility study. Yes, you should do a pre-feasibility study because before you start the full-blown one, which will involve you going traveling here and there, asking people several questions, you can do a pre-feasibility study, maybe with a short a short sample size, small sample size, or you could just do a Google search. You could even hire a consultant that will look at it for you. But if you use a consultant, please stay with the consultant so that some of the issues that will come up, you would have seen it before you go into the full-blown feasibility. And another advantage of pre-feasibility is that it saves you money. It saves you time because if time, money, if you just move in and then you realize the business is not feasible, those funds, those time that you'd have used to do the real business would have come. All right, that's it. Let's look at the last topic in this session, then we can go to the second section for close today. Components of feasibility study. When we say components of feasibility study, we are saying essentially what are the few things that I must see on your feasibility report. If I pick it, what should I see? I can see plenty other things, but I expect to see these few. Yeah, we have about how many? We have about 6 items. So we say description of the business. We want a market feasibility, want a technical feasibility, want a financial feasibility. We also want organizational feasibility, then give us a conclusion. You'll see this description of the business can be rather simple. What you are describing here is the product, the services, and how you intend to deliver it. It's just it's almost the whole what are you bringing to the market? That's what we want to see here. Then the market feasibility. For you to get your market feasibility, there are certain points raised here. These points, you will design your study report, study instrument. What do I mean study instrument? You pick a piece of paper, put down some questions that you think will help you bring out this information, or what you need to Google and get some of this information, or where you need to go and get statistics from and all that. So you do that as far as market feasibility is concerned in terms of the following items that I need you to know. First, a description of the industry. That one, the Google can help you, and then some observation and some questions. You interview some people, you get an idea. Current market size, maybe you can pick that from population and income. That's those employed. if the population is say 1,000, and then those employed there, let's say 50, and then those depending on those employed, let's say 100. So you know that your your market size is going to revolve around one. Then what would the market potential look like in future? If government is creating more and more jobs, are we going to get more market? You need to look at that. Then competition. Competition, we're talking about it again, over and over again because they exist. Then sales projection, that is how many people will you be able to sell to, assuming 150 people interested in this product? Who are your potential buyer? etc. etc. So you can pick your design, your study instrument, note them down, like okay, total, what will be sales in future, what is the market size in this locality, what's their population, so that as you are putting them and then writing your comments and your observation, it makes it easy for you to draft a full report when you are done. Another aspect that you look at is your technical feasibility. Look at your technical feasibility. The technical feasibility, like the name goes, is technical issues. Technical issues like even technology, technical issues such as your transportation, labor, um, materials that you need, the machines, the how to use them, how to train people, all of that. So detail how you will deliver a product or service, meaning how you manufacture it, including how you move it from one point to the other to satisfy the market, all of that. You need to put them down in form of a questionnaire or a checklist that once you think of it, you check it that, okay, I'm going to move the product from factory to the market site, right? Then you say, okay, you now say transportation. Then you now go under it and say mode of transportation. You know that it's either road, and then if it's road, you can write your comments. The buses will be used. Are you going to buy a bus? Are you going to hire a bus, or there are uh, courier services or dispatch services to help you move this item? Right. Then we have financial feasibility. Financial feasibility. This deals essentially with money. How much do you need to start? Yeah, how much do you need? You will also, once you know how much you need, you also want to know where you get this money from. What are your sources? For now, our main source, as far as this class is concerned, is Niger microfinance. But a time will come, our business will get very big. And if our business gets very big and we need more than 10 million, the Niger microfinance may not necessarily want to be able to help. So we will also need money from other people. And these people are going to ask us questions. So you should always know where the source of the capital is. Now, once you get capital, either personal or from friends and family or from a loan or wherever you get this money from, you should also want to know how much is going to come back on this investment. If I invest 5 million, how much am I going to get back? You know, this when you say you invest 5 million, it's not like a fixed deposit you keep in a bank and you know that they're going to pay you maybe 60% at the end of the year. No, when you're saying return on investment, it's usually you have 5 million, you would have converted it into fixed assets such as you bought equipment, you paid rent. So how much is going to be coming back again after you sold your product to cover all of this? We expect something to be coming back. Now, there are ways you can deal with your return on investment to assess your return on investment. There are a couple of ways. One of the popular one is people use payback period. Is not refined. It doesn't take care of so many variables, but it's simple, it's great, and it can tell you. Like for example, if you go into a transport business and you have a keke napep or tricycle, and the tricycle returns 7,000 per week, you have say 28,000 every month, right? So this 28,000, for example, you bought this keke for 500,000. You now say, okay, how long will this money they are paying me cover this 500,000? So you look at it from, okay, in a year there are 12 months, okay, you're going to get 200 and some 256 or there, or 300 and something this year. Next year, so your payback period becomes what, 2 years or almost 2 years. Then afterwards, if the pay is still there in the third year, that third year amount becomes your profit in terms of return on investment. These are things that you do under financial feasibility. Organizational feasibility, the way the business is organized is what counts too. You know, sometimes you go to some companies and then you will ask yourself, ah, these people don't look organized. You go to other ones, they say, I know they are more organized. All of this is a function of some other things that must have been put on ground earlier on, to help the place run seamlessly. Maybe you have a reporting, maybe there's a way you recruit people, and all of that. You put them on ground to help uh, get a way out of it. So here you define both the legal structure. It's going to be private, it's going to be business name. You look at some of these things. And then what is the skill? What's the professional knowledge that the person has? You also have to look at some. Then conclusion, not for what we are discussing, conclusion of the report. In conclusion, we only have small advice for you. Just discuss how the business can succeed in general. But this your discussion, just be very honest, because you are usually going to present this report to somebody that want to loan you, and they are going to look at the data, they're going to look at how you arrive at your conclusion. If they are unrealistic, you know they will not proceed with your project. But if they are, they will want to proceed with your. So that's it. Those are the minimum, the least we should see in your report. This is the smallest we should see here. All right, let me see if I can do a little breakdown of the middle ones. That's market feasibility, technical feasibility, financial feasibility, and organization. And then we will end this section. Under market analysis or market feasibility, when you are doing this, you have to consider things like what's the target population, right? Target population is the number of people around. Then you break it into market segmentation. What I mean, segment this population into groupings such as men, women, that's gender, into income, people that earn high income, people that earn low income. Uh, Sometimes you don't want to say high, you will just use figures that earn between this and this. And then another one is age. What's their age? Are they old? Are they old people? Are they young people? Sometimes you don't want to bother yourself with old, young. You just use age range. The person up to 70, so you can say between 70 and 90. Then you can say between 50 and, or you can say between 55 and 50 or so, any of those groupings. Then you design strategy for each of the group. Like if you are selling products that people between 70 and 90 can use, you target that group. For example, if I'm organizing a party for somebody that is 70-year-old, right? And I say, okay, if you are less than 70, you cannot come to that party. At that party, what kind of music do you expect me to play? I will play a music that would appeal more to them. Maybe the music they used to enjoy when they were much, much younger, and not maybe music that could be too fast for them or something like that. These are strategies that you can use. And then if you are dealing with people that are quite young, let's say people that are like 18 or even 20, you're dealing with those kind of people. You know, most of the time they are on social media. So to reach out to these guys, you have to find a way of getting to them through the social media instead of trying to reach them through maybe newspaper that will sell in the marketplace. These are strategies that you can. And like market analysis, we kept talking about competitors. You have to analyze that by finding out how many of them are there. Many of them are there. What is their buying pattern? I mean, how people buy from you? Think of these people. What's the strength of this competition? What is their weaknesses? You have to look at some of these things quickly. You have to look at what some of these things quickly and then see what you can do. All right. Under technical analysis, you will look at the location, equipment, um, location. Who are your suppliers? What personnel are you using? Where are you getting the raw materials from? All those you do them under technical analysis. Then you bring in your technical analysis, you combine it with the information you have from your market analysis, then you will attach money to it under the financial analysis. Like we said, under the technical, what equipment you're going to use. So under financial, you put the equipment on ground and then you mark, you give us the cost, raw material, salary, all other operations. Then you also, like I said, you're bringing in the market size, so sales projections. So how much are you going to sell? What will be the value of what you're going to sell? And then you multiply it by a number you sell in the whole year. All right, the other one is organizational analysis, which is this involves questions whether the system has enough support to be implemented successfully. What are we saying? You know, you might, some of you are not starting business afresh. You want to combine them, but combining them, will it bring too much change, or will it work seamlessly, or it may not work? Sometimes some business cannot be combined. So what you do, you have to do those feasibilities. And if they can be combined, you do organizational analysis to check whether it's better to run your business as a private limited or as a business name, and all of those, or which type of organizational corporate structure is best fit. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's what we want to discuss under feasibility study. Um, um, uh, Maybe we should answer this question. I'm going to wait for you. I hope I didn't make you sleep. I hope you were able to listen. uh, so that we can quickly conclude this one. We'll use this time for 1 or 2 minutes break. This 1 or 2 minutes break is the time I want. Instead of the full break, maybe you should use it to answer this question. You can go to the chat, type number one, put full stop, and then say, answer the question. Should every business have a feasibility plan? The answer should be yes or no. That's so you write yes or you write no. And then answer, what is the importance of feasibility? So that's two. Then three, from this, which aspect of the feasibility plan can you prepare? Um, then, if you can prepare all, fine. Then, for which aspect will you require the help of others? That will automatically be a none. So, while we take a break, we expect you to answer that for us quickly. Thank you very much for those that have listened. For Chi Abu, struggling with the name again. Um, I'm struggling, or she's no longer in class again. She participated actively. Maybe she's having network problem. And for Blinky Afolabi that just joined, thank you. What I've discussed is also going to be on the YouTube, like I said, on our channel. And then if you have any question, you can still ask before we do section. All right. Right. I got response from just Fidel and the pool. He said number one is yes, yes, and then number two, he gave us some importance of doing a feasibility study. Thank you very much. Mutalab Yakubu says his network is bad, so we wouldn't be getting answers from him. All right, it's fine. If I get other answers, great. Let me continue. Let's move to the next section. Right, section 2, business plan, right? We have 7 items here to discuss quickly, and we'll see how we can deal with that before 12. So we'll go. In this particular section, the topics are 7. 1, executive summary. 2, business description, mission statement, business concept, strategy, value proposition. That's item 3. Market summary and competition. Then 5 is competitive advantage, SWOT, risk, resource planning, and team. Then 7 is your is 7 is your financial projection. All right. So without much ado, the first one, executive summary. What's executive summary? Executive summary, as the name goes, is the summary of the entire business plan. All right. Let me differentiate between a business plan and a feasibility study first. Feasibility study report first. Now, for a business plan and a feasibility study, you can liken it to maybe you walk up to a particular place, you survey the topography of the area, it looks like somewhere you want to live, you look at life, you look at the streets there, the neatness, you look at the neighbors, you are doing a feasibility study. But the business plan will be when you get an architectural design, architectural plan for your house, the quantity surveyor, sorry, bill of quantity. You get all that report, and then you even get the electricity plan, or electrical works plan. All of those plans combined, that's like your business plan. So that's majorly the difference. So coming back to what we're discussing, item 1 is your executive summary, which is a summary of the entire business plan. But funny enough, how do you summarize what you're written? The first thing is that you should write it at the end of the entire business plan. 2, it should not, for me, my recommendation is that keep it to 1 page. Some people can say 2 page, 3 page, or just leave it 1 page. The person you are giving it to does not have time. He wants to quickly read it. 3, make it very, very catchy. Make it catchy, make it attractive, make the page legible, neat, and something appealing to an executive, so that he looks at it, he wants to read it, he sees the summary there, and then he does what he wants to do. By either recommending it, he will maybe disapprove your business plan. All right, so that's essentially what the executive summary is. Let's go to the next one, next topic, which is business description. Yes, and I have a chat here. Somebody is talking. Right, Chris Idoko has answered our question. He said number 1 is very important. He also said it helps narrow your business alternative. That's one of the importance. And he also mentioned description of the business. He knows he can do that very well. Then he also knows, oh, did I get that? Okay, but he knows that he needs help in financial feasibility. All right, whatever you hear from us under financial projection, under the business plan, you can apply it to your financial feasibility as well. All right, thank you for that response. At least I'm happy now I have at least a minimum of 2 participants giving me answers. Okay. All right, business description and the mission statement. Here in this section, it practically is the first thing you're going to write. We want you to describe the business. When you are describing business, what are you describing in a business? You are describing the type of business it's going to be, how it's going to be registered, limited, liability, whatever is, however you're going to, however you intend the business to be. Then what's the mission of this business? What's the strategy? Where's the location? Where is who are the promoters? These are the things that you're going to write in this section. What's the main strategy you're going to write? Then after that, we want you to write the mission statement. What could be a mission statement? The mission statement is clearly, let's say, okay, put it this way. Look at what's in the combo here. We say clearly state your company's long-term mission. Try to use words that will help direct the growth of your company. Be as concise as much as possible. What's the mission statement? Mission statement is the reason for existence. That's what we're saying. State the reason for existence. Why is this business in existence? Some people go ahead and give us their vision statement as well. Vision statement is what your desired optimal future will look like. What do you think you want to look like in the near future? That's what we expect you to put there. And then some people will move ahead and then put their value, which will tell us a little about their culture. And you know, most businesses are driven by value these days. Is there an ethical place? Do they abide by what they say? Are they truthful all the time? Do they have reputation? So some people want to tell you, yes, these are important things. Culture, they're important in driving the business, so they want to state them there. These are the things that we want to see in this section. Then when you're done with this section, we'll move on to the next section, which is your business concept, your business strategy, your value proposition. Like when we're discussing concept, you recall when we're talking about Louisiana and Abuchi, right? One used to sell only on cash, the other one sells on credit. It's almost like a business concept. Or let me put it this way: if you recall, the taxi business. The taxi business, we have the one that we were doing before that we know. In fact, let me call it traditional, and then we have the new form of taxi business. The traditional taxi business, you buy your taxi, you hire a driver, and then the driver goes to look for passenger round, and brings you return. The other concept that we have these days is you don't buy no driver, you don't get no driver, you don't buy no vehicle. You get customers, and then people will get their vehicles, and then they will drive the cars, and then you hook them up to it. That's what we have in the form of Uber, we have in the form of Bolt, we have in the form of Taxify, or whatever name they might go by this time. So that's what we have for now in terms of all of this. That's your business concept. So you tell us your business concept. Then in terms of strategy is the how, the methodology. What the strategy you think you want to deploy. Strategy could be, yes, the concept is we'll move the taxi business into the Uber concept and all that online, right? So that we can reach more people. Then what's the strategy? The strategy is not for you to go to every town or every rural area and put up this taxi business. If people in the locality don't use taxis at all, it would not sell. It's good for the urban center, it's good where taxi businesses are. And then when you look at it, in Lagos, when traffic became an issue, what did they do? Some other people came up with using a bike for the same model instead of vehicles. So you could easily call a bike wherever you are, and then they pick you and take you to wherever you need to be. So apart from using vehicles, these are various strategies. So we want to see your strategy. We are not saying in the business plan that you should tell the whole world your business secret, but describe the availability of your secret, describe how you intend to go about this strategy. And when you are doing that, that's why your business document is usually a confidential document. It's not supposed to be placed in the hands of everybody. But in as much as you cannot guarantee that somebody is going to leak information in it, you are supposed to put your strategy in such a way that it might be difficult to replicate. Then we also want to see your value proposition at this point. What value are you proposing? The term is very clear and simple. Is what are you bringing to board that others are not bringing? The common ways in which you can bring something others are not bringing could be efficiency. Maybe your own product can help them make better use of it, quality, speed, or even cost. These are the common ways you can propose value to a client or a customer that, oh yeah, if you buy my product, it's going to give you all of this. And you don't just claim it. You don't claim that your product can do something without you being sure that your product can do that. In terms of cost, maybe you have a way of sourcing your raw materials from a cheaper place, unknown to others, or even if it's known to others, is a close deal. Like they can say you are the only distributor. Sometimes you can invest in quality so that your value, your people will pay for it, but in terms your price might be high, but they know that it has quality. And then others will be efficiency, maybe use dispatch rider to deliver product and all of that. You can have all of those stuff. Okay. Right. Let's look at the next item, which is market summary and competition. Here, you talk about the whole market. Market is important. Why you use a business called market in the first place? To discuss the market, what has been happening in the market before, what's happening in the market tomorrow, what's happening in the market today. And talk about the changes in the market. What changes? Who is the leader in the market? What are the costs? What competition? What share do people have? When we say market leader, when we talk about market share, market is number of people that will buy. So market share is the number of people that will buy from you. Market is number of people that will buy. Market share is the number of people that will buy from you. So market leader is the person that most people buy from. Let's say you have 100 people in the market. That's the market. And then 10 buy from you. That's your market share. So your market share is 10. And if say 40 buy from somebody, then that's the market leader. Then the rest go 2, 1, 4, 5, like that, and then that makes the whole. So these are things that we also needed to analyze. You look for figures, look for facts to help you put them. Where do you get these figures from? Is when you have done your feasibility study properly. Because we say a good feasibility study will help you do a good business plan. Next one, competitive advantage, SWOT, and then risk. Competitive advantage is what do you have that your competitors do not have? And how do you get that? You get that from two basic attributes. Is your resource unique? You have core competence. When you combine these two, you usually get something competitive advantage. And when it cannot be replicated, then it's a sustainable competitive advantage. When it can be replicated, you know, sometimes some people can try to imitate it, but where there's difficulty in getting that, then you of course know that you have a competitive advantage. Core competence could be good customer service. Unique resource could be maybe a particular ingredient, trade secret, secret recipe, and you know. Right, you've done your competitive advantage. We also need you can notice that when we're talking about competitive advantage, SWOT, risk, we're trying to analyze your internal strength. We're trying to analyze your position, how good you are for the market. All right. So what is SWOT? That's a strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat. Your strength and weakness relate to you internally, your business internally, whereas your opportunities and threat relate to the things that affect you from the external point. Like exchange rates, those are external things. So for those of you into agriculture, and will be exporting your goods, like if you go into ginger, ginger is something that is exported. If you see that once there is exchange, once you sell, you export them, you're going to get your in dollar, your payment in dollar, and when you convert it, you have plenty naira, right? In the same way, some of it that will be importing machines, the exchange rate will not be favorable for you to this machine. So the cost of this machine will be increasing, and that will be a threat. Then when you come to this SW, which is strength and weakness, some strength and weakness could be, strength could be you have very good customer service, your staff remember names of your customers easily, or you could even have a weakness such as your staff, they are not staying, they come and then they leave, not because salary is too low, or maybe they are too mobile, or the working environment is not so friendly, or the economy is not. So any of these things, so you can write them down. So when you are doing a SWOT analysis, what you need to do is you write strengths, you list them. You don't need to comment, you don't need to defend them, just list what relates to you. Write W weaknesses, list them. Write opportunities, list them. Write threats and then list them. Whoever is evaluating your business plan will look at it, and then from there we'll take it. Risk. Recall we talked about risk earlier on. Risk is probability of an event occurring. Now that, and we also differentiate between pure risk and a business risk or speculative risk, strategic risk. Here, what we need you to put down is that you need to summarize the risk of the proposed project, the proposed business. Summarize them, list them, right? And then you can profile them in terms of likelihood, likely, and then the impact, multiply them, and then let's see. Then you can color them red, yellow, green, depending on how the impact of this of the risk when it happens. Then lastly, on the side, tell us how you intend to deal with this risk. Some of the common ways we deal with risk is to use the framework, the TARA framework. TARA. Yeah. TARA is for transfer the risk by giving it to insurance companies. Just pay premium. If you can afford it, you pay premium, and they take up the risk for you. When it crystallizes, you get some money back. You could also avoid the risk completely by not even investing in that area. Or you could reduce the risk by putting internal controls on ground to ensure that this thing doesn't, that the risk doesn't occur. When they are occurring, it's going to be minimized. Then you could also accept the risk. That means you go into the risk knowing that there should be some reward if the risk doesn't crystallize or and things like that. So write those things down. That's what we want to see in resource planning. All right, resource planning. Um, Here, what we're saying we want to see is your plan. It's almost like the core of the plan itself, which will include things like time frame. When do you intend to start recruiting people? When do you intend to bring this factory, this machine? When do you intend to train? When do you intend to deploy them? How do you intend to distribute the goods? We want to see all those resource plans right there. Majorly, you can use the Gantt model to placing them, putting time frame in them so that it will look like a timetable and guide everyone what to do. Part of the resource is the human resource, right? This one you can even stand alone. Uh, Here, these people that are going to work with you, including yourself, uh, we need you to write their names down, right? The key people, not just everybody. There are certain jobs that are not so important. The key people is what we intend you to put down. Put down their qualification, but it's not so important. The other two that are more important is what other accomplishments that have they had? Maybe they worked here, they were able to do this, they were able to achieve this, they were able to turn around a particular company. Then the last one, which is very important, is their years of experience in that particular area. I know now you see when we're discussing this, somebody will now remember that oh, when I graduated, if I apply for this job, they'll say I need so of experience. You cannot see now that you are now going to employ somebody and you'll be insisting on years of experience because you cannot afford to bring somebody that is not experienced in that business. You need somebody that is experienced in that area. And maybe you can hire other people that are not experienced to be trainee to learn, but the core man, the key staff, has to have some experience, has to have some accomplished some things before. Those are the two things we look out for. We don't even emphasize, I wouldn't even emphasize this qualification because qualification may not necessarily be the same as experience. Right, the last thing before we close today is financial projection. And the financial projection, we say it outlines a high-level financial plan that defines your financial model and then pricing assumptions. what are assumptions? You know, assumptions just you must do assumptions. Like now that you're expecting funding, it doesn't mean that you have paid the rent. You may use some of the money for rent. So if you think that you're going to use say 300,000 for rent of office space in a business, you are still thinking, and you got that figure from your field study, that is from your feasibility study, that these places that you want to locate your office is around 300,000. That's why you're factoring in that figure. But it doesn't mean that you already have the office. You could go there, the office might not be available. You may have to step up to a higher office or a smaller office. You could go there, the price might change. You could go there, the price might reduce. So at the time you're writing 300, we know that you're making assumptions. And these assumptions are not just standing on anything. They are not just hanging in the game. The assumptions are based on either the feasibility study you've done or assumptions that can be verified from some search documents that say people around this area, they charge this for rent, for office space, or the size of. So we expect you to put all assumptions, including how much you're going to sell the item, who is going to buy the item from you, what are some of the expenses that you are going to incur, and you put a whole lot of them down there to get your financial projection. So you, in the financial projection, some of the assumptions will be, I'm going to sell so amount in this month, next month, that month, like that. And then the price is going to be assumed to be this way. So you multiply the price, assumed price by the assumed sales projection, you get the total sales projection. We showed that earlier on when we are doing the analysis in financial, that the financial piece. So you put down all this in a form of show us how much is coming in, how much is going out, how much is going to be left. Then the summary of this, we'll use it to know who is owing you, and then how much asset you have on ground, how much profit are you making, what were your expenses. So that will give us what your projected balance sheet or financial position or projected financial performance or profit and loss account. That's essentially it. But the key one that we expect from you is the cash flow. That's what I want you to see. Mm, it has about 3 layouts. Let me just show you so that I talk from the screen. It has about 3 layouts. If you are good with Excel, Microsoft Excel, yes, this is going to be easy for you. But if you are not very good, you can pick a piece of paper and rule them into columns. First column will be description of the things. Second column will be for period. It will be months, weeks, days. But most of the time we use months. So what will happen in January? What will happen in terms of what? In terms of sales, how much will I sell? Then how much loan will I get either in January or February? That will give us your total income. This is the first layout. The second layout will follow the same format also, but it will deal with expenses. This is the second layout. Expenses here. What are your expenses? Purchases, the things you are going to buy, wages. You could put rent. You could increase the rows, such as even the equipment you're going to buy, you can write it here. So if we have that, if we combine the two layouts, you will have something like income and expenditure. In this example, in my example here, you can see we have figures. Sales was 600, loan was 1,000. Loan comes once in a period. So you see in February, no more loan. Sales every time. Then purchases, they bought raw material, 800, another time 500. Wages, salaries hardly change periodically if you have a fixed number of employees. Wages didn't change. Look at it and note this figure. I'll use it to describe the third layout. Note this figure. Here's 1,006, here's 1,000, here's 1,002, here's 900. Right, let's look at the third layout. Right, the third layout is you have an opening balance. You have total income. Total income of 1,600, I earlier said. Total expense 1,200. What is this figure? Inflow stroke outflow. 1,600 minus 1,200 is 400. So closing balance is what? meaning that we got 1.6, we spent 1.2, we had 400. Then this 400, if we add it with the money we started in the period, it gives us 700. So that's for January. In February, what will happen? In February, because we close with 700, we're going to start with the same figure, 700. So this is how simple it can go. If there were nothing here, opening balance 0, then our this figure, closing balance would be equal to what? 400. Because 400 plus 0 would have been 400. Then we began February with 400. This is still a simple scenario. What if you have 1006 here, and then here is 1008, 200 extra? You can either take that 200 from here, and then you'll be left with 100. So you start the next month with 100. In that scenario could be you had nothing here, 0, whereas here is 1008. You could decide to move the 200 to this period. So you just spend only all that you got. 1000, you got 1.6, you spent 1.6. So there'll be 0 here, beginning period 0 also. What if that situation continues where what you are getting is less than what you are spending? Two things can happen. One, if you are into a business like fish farming, where the other one will come much, the sales will come at a particular period, then we can understand why you should be having minus until the day you sell plenty. So we won't have sales. Or, which is what I don't like, is that your projection is faulty or your business is faulty. That means whatever you sell, you spend more than you sell, so that business will come. That's one reason why we do an feasibility study. And ladies and gentlemen, I can't even track how many ladies, how many guys are in my class now. Thank you very much for listening. You go to our YouTube page, you will find this discussion, but you won't be able to ask questions there anymore because I would have gone. That will not be live anymore. This is live. If you have a question, you can type it. If you don't want to talk, type it. And then afterwards, we are going to unmute everyone so that anybody that wants to speak can either speak in form of comments, question, answers, or anything. And then we'll close the day. But before we close the day, we're going to put a quiz on the chat. I'm putting a quiz on the chat now. Once the quiz is there, you answer it, and then let's see your scores. Let's see your scores. And then for this particular presentation, let me quickly see how I can put it up on the. Let me see how I can put it up on the WhatsApp so that you can make reference to it any day you feel like. So I'm going to put it on the WhatsApp chat now. I can download and go through it or make reference to it anytime. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to wish all of you a very interesting business endeavor as you go in. I can't wish you any other thing other than best of luck, best of everything. So thank you very much for listening to me today. I'm looking at my other screen to see how I can forward the lecture today, the PowerPoint presentation to the WhatsApp chat. Right, so we will unmute people now so that we can take questions. Take questions. Let's unmute everyone.
This network is a problem.
It looks like no one is asking a question.
Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Please attempt it quickly. For long.
The network fluctuating.
Hello. Hello. Good day, sir.
Thank you very much.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you. Thank you.
Hello. This is Yakub speaking. Hello.
Yes, I can hear you.
Hello. Okay. My question is this: what is it? Can you hear me?
Clearly, sir.
Okay. What is the difference between feasibility study and feasible business?
Okay. Feasibility study, right, is the study where you want to check whether your idea is viable or not. You have an idea,
All
but
right.
that's not yet a business. But for feasible business is already an established business. You want to know whether this business will continue to be in existence or will easily fail. So we gave some checklists, and I will send a WhatsApp presentation for you to make reference to. There are 4 checklists: cash flow, profit, risk, and
Welcome to Horizons from wherever in the world that
all
you
of
are joining us. I am Rudy,
long.
this is Newsday.
Did I answer your question? That,
Thank you, sir.
have you seen it? Yes, I can't find it. Let me just have you put the quiz? You put it on the Zoom too. We'll close the class now. And now it seems we don't have any question again. So attempt the quiz on the WhatsApp chat, and then I'm going to put the slide on the WhatsApp chat. It's already 12. I think I want to close the class until tomorrow. I also want to wish you a very beautiful afternoon. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for those that have participated.